These are the steps here at your Washington State Capitol where, I guess it was 41 years ago, there was a push to make Louie Louie the state song. We just did a documentary on that. Had a ton of fun digging into the King 5 archives to look back at what was a big deal in the 80s. Well, I found another great story that we're now digging into. We are looking back to 1976, 50 years ago. SeaWorld was out not too far from the state capitol here in Bud Inlet hunting orcas. In those days, they were known as killer whales, and they were super popular at amusement parks and wildlife parks. And it upset a lot of people when they actually saw them rounding these beautiful beasts up in the waters off the shores here at Olympia. So Ralph Monroe, who was a future Secretary of State here in the state, was working for Governor Dan Evans at the time. He was outraged by what he saw. So he called King 5 News, he called the Seattle Post-Intelligencer and the Olympian, got as many people to hear about this as possible. Fast forward a couple of months, there was so much outrage, public outrage, that politicians got involved and orca hunts were outlawed in all waters of the mainland United States. So it was a huge victory for the orcas, obviously, but also a great example of how people can make a difference when they see something and do something about it. So that's a story we're working on now here in Olympia.
Last week, we ran into two brothers who were showing up for their dad's first court appearance at the Northwest Ice Processing Center in Tacoma, and they told me that their dad was arrested about 2 weeks ago, and this is the video that they were able to send me today.
You're being audio and video recorded as well, okay? So it's all fair game, everybody knows, right? Okay. So you realize we're from immigration, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so they're gonna work with your dad over there, find out what's going on with him, and then we'll go from there, all right?
No puedo caminar.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Your dad will be transported down to Tukwila, where they'll go over his paperwork with him and what he needs to do and all that stuff. If he's able to bond, they'll bond him out. If he's not able to bond, then they'll move him to Tacoma to a detention center.
Okay.
Either way, he'll get a bunch of phone calls, he'll get legal representation, so he'll be able to do all that stuff. He'll be able to contact you guys and talk to you guys, and then you guys can work from there on working whatever his paperwork is, okay?
The brothers told me that their dad has diabetes and also has different health issues. You can see here he's using a cane to walk, and the agents pull him out of the car and escort him to their cars. This is a edited and shortened version of this entire video that was around 4 or 5 minutes.
I don't know, for whoever know me, that's the moment I feel sad, I want to be in the kitchen and cooking food. This is the whole concept. We create this restaurant. Especially refugee and immigrants, most of them, they came from countries that has war and disasters. And I felt that in their hearts, there is flashback coming back to their heart and their eyes, and they don't want anyone to be in this situation.
Hey everybody, so did you know 3 in 10 drivers say it out loud? Nobody actually drives the speed limit. A new AAA study finds speeding may be more normalized than we actually think. Most drivers surveyed said that going up to 10 miles per hour over the posted limit feels acceptable. But AAA says that mindset can be dangerous. Even a few extra miles per hour can reduce reaction time and make crashes more severe. So the next time that you're running late, remember, the speed limit is not just a suggestion.
You may soon be shelling out more money to buy strawberries, and it has to do with possible tariffs. The Trump administration is looking into whether Mexican growers are setting unfairly low prices and whether they should implement tariffs to help U.S. strawberry growers. Here's why that would drive up the cost. 98% of strawberries sold in the U.S. last year came from Mexico, with shipments worth more than $1 billion. Shoppers saw tomato prices skyrocket earlier this year because of tariffs. Tomato prices were 12.8% higher last month than a year ago, according to the latest CPI report. But that wasn't the only contributing factor. Freezing temperatures in parts of Florida destroyed much of the tomato crop. Items in the produce aisle are already very vulnerable to price fluctuations because of extreme weather. Throw in tariffs, and it could make prices even worse.
It's really challenging. And you know what? Here's basically what every single retailer across the country would agree with me on. If you raise prices, guess what happens to sale? They go down.
The good news is that tomato prices have already come down a lot. And as for strawberries, the Commerce Department is expected to release its preliminary finding in the strawberry case by August 18th.
All right, so I'm starting a new series called 60-Second Investigations, where I show you tools I use as an investigative reporter so you can find useful information about things in your life fast. First up, want to know who owns a house? Simply Google your county's assessor property search. Every county is going to be a little bit different. For King County here, we're going to click on that e-real property and we're going to search by an address. I'm going to use the address they give as an example. And there it is. You can see the property owner, the parcel number, assessed value, property characteristics. There's so much information on this webpage about that address that you typed in for the house or property or whatever it might be. Also, if you click on this tab, property detail, it's going to give you even more information. You can also use that parcel number on Zillow, Redfin, or other public records to dig even deeper. And this isn't secret information. Property ownership is public record. So next time you're curious about who owns a house, now you know where to look. And make sure to follow for more 60-second investigations.
You're a pretty girl, aren't you?
Her smile's the same each day, but the pain Luna's been in since the Spokane complex fires has made it harder for her to get happy.
She still has a little cough, but it's pretty much better now. That healed the fastest.
Her owner, Destiny Mertz, says Luna's paw pads were burned completely off after her family evacuated from the Old Trails fire, leaving her feet extremely fragile and requiring daily bandage changes and medication. She says Luna appeared to be trying to protect other dogs also on the property, two of which didn't survive the fire. Once Luna managed to escape herself, she collapsed.
Between the pain, the adrenaline of pushing through those severe burns to keep running, because she did not stop.
Once she got treatment, her family discovered Luna also needed a 3-hour emergency surgery after vets found a problem with her spleen and a mass in her uterus. Now she has weekly wound treatments, more procedures ahead, and follow-up care for the tumor that was removed.
She's just always been this very strong soul. Like, when I look at her, I see somebody that's very gentle and loving, and she has so much life in her.
The Yakima Nation put out a statement yesterday saying that they are aware of ICE agents in the area and they are encouraging tribal members to carry their tribal IDs with them. This is the information that they published on their Facebook page yesterday, and it says that they have heard from tribal members about concerns about ICE agents in the area. They also say that they are encouraging tribal members to carry their tribal IDs, and also if they choose to and if they feel like it's necessary to carry a secondary ID like a passport or a passport card to supplement their tribal ID. Not sure if you guys remember this, but around November of last year, an Indigenous actress, Elaine Miles, who is a member of the Umatilla tribe from Oregon, said that she was stopped by 4 ICE agents as she was walking to a bus stop in Redmond. She said that those officers asked for her ID, so she gave them her tribal ID, and those officers said that the ID was fake. Elaine Miles said that she also happened to have her passport with her. When she showed them her passport, that's when they let her go. ICE released a statement in reaction to that, saying that all of their agents are trained to identify and accept tribal ID as a verified form of identification, but Miles said that that wasn't the case for her. I'm not sure if there's a specific event that spurred the Yakima Nation to put out the statement that they did yesterday, but we do know that ICE has been heavily enforcing in both Eastern and Western Washington, because in Eastern Washington, a lot of our farm workers are there.
Just hours before new tariffs on Canadian goods were set to go into effect, President Trump announced a 3-day pause to allow negotiations to continue. New 50% import taxes were set to take effect at midnight, hitting $20 billion worth of Canadian goods, including hockey sticks, alcohol, and dairy products. But in a late-night social media post, the president said the U.S. and Canada had reached a deal. No further details of the agreement were given, but the president said the cross-border Keystone XL pipeline project could be revived as part of the deal.
The 2 dogs that mauled a pregnant Tacoma mom may not be euthanized after all. 2 months ago, 2 dogs attacked Renee Wilson right here outside her home. Renee was 9 months pregnant and due to give birth that day. Doctors later induced labor and her son Armani was born healthy. But Renee says that she's still living with the physical and emotional impact of that day. Now a new city ruling upholds both dogs' dangerous designations, but it gives their owners 30 days to remove them from Tacoma. If they can't, those dogs must be euthanized. Renee says she doesn't agree with giving these dogs another chance.
I have PTSD. I'm traumatized emotionally, mentally, and then just the fact that the dogs were able to live and they're able to be relocated somewhere else where they could potentially hurt another family. It's very hurtful. It's even more traumatizing. It's more, mental health that I'm going to have to deal with.
The recall petition against Mayor Katie Wilson heads to court. Today, I talked with one of the 2 Seattle voters who launched this effort, Melinda Jacobson. She's lived in Seattle her whole life, and she says that she did try to give Wilson a chance. And in her words, she's seen one public safety failure after another. Things that she says are really driving her effort now to get the mayor out of office are really all about public safety and things she's seen happening in her neighborhood, North Seattle, along Aurora Avenue. She says the trafficking and gun violence has been out of control. She also talks about growing open-air drug markets in the Chinatown International District in Belltown. And she says she doesn't like the way the mayor handled the situation with former police chief Sean Barnes. It was late in July that the mayor did request that Barnes step down. He did. He walked away with a severance package, about $700,000. She looks at all those things and says that she thinks that the city needs to do better. She wants the mayor to be out of office. Now it's going to move to a courtroom on August 31st. We'll be watching and continue to follow this.
Some plants are high maintenance, and then there are hen and chicks. These tough little succulents can take the heat, handle drought, and still look great doing it.
We call these sempervivens, which means lives forever. And that's because even though the mama dies, they always reproduce like this. But back in ancient times, there was this belief, I think it came from a myth, that if you planted these on the roof of your house would never get hit by lightning, and you'd have good luck. Your Brussels sprouts would form lots of sprouts. Everything would be good.
What? I can't even do, okay.
Now look what just happened.
It died.
Well, you're trying to get this ugly mama out of there. All these little babies got pulled out with it. What you could do instead of pulling it out, you could chop it off.
Right here?
Down farther.
Down farther?
Yeah.
How much further?
You want to get rid of all that brown. Perfect.
Mr. Coney, is your name Christine Coney?
And we'll stipulate to name and date of birth for the purposes of this hearing and associated paperwork today.
And Mr. Coney, you understand you're being charged with the crime of murder in the first degree. You're going to be accused of committing premeditated intent to cause the death of another person, did cause the death of a juvenile, initials TB, date of birth July 25th of 2009, a human being who died on or about August 2nd. You understand those are the charges against you?
You will acknowledge receipt with further informal reading in MRFB and not close campus.
Are she or who the parties please place themselves on the
Chris Anderson here for the state ground.
In the media at this point, we do not have discovery on this case, and identity very well may be at issue.
Students start with an idea, it's just something on a paper, and be able to scale that into small batch 5 to 10 gallon batches, and then eventually to 10 barrel batches. It's extremely exciting to see students' concepts come to reality in really a short amount of time.
It's so fulfilling to have created something like this, to get the feedback from people to say, this is really good, I would like to drink this, right? Versus, oh, my collection of friends at home, right? But to have this where it's out in the public and other people are now participating in it.
An effort to prevent a space telescope from a fiery demise has failed. NASA launched a mission to rescue the Swift Observatory last month and boost it to a higher altitude. But NASA now reports that effort was unsuccessful. But it's not a complete failure, as the rescue spacecraft will still rendezvous with the telescope and conduct training exercises useful for future missions. The Swift Observatory is expected to burn up in the atmosphere as it plunges back to Earth later this year.
These goats aren't kidding around. They escaped their yard in Portland and tried to catch a bus. Literally. Billy the Kid and Billy the Goat broke out last week and wandered nearly a quarter mile from home. Then surveillance video caught them hopping onto a TriMet bus. Their owner says he didn't believe they were loose until he saw the video himself.
Put the chain on to keep everyone from going in and out of the fence, because that's how they get out. Someone will open the fence and not close it, so they just poop. Thank you. They're opportunists. They'll slide right out. Ooh, thank you. And they'll go eat something, and they'll just keep going. If notices them, they go to the neighbor's yard, over to that, and to the bus stop.
Don't worry, the goats are back home. Their owner has added extra security to stop the next getaway.
Microneedling first timer trying this out in Bellevue.
Doing some microneedling today. Our patient's concern is some hyperpigmentation and some fine lines. Microneedling is a great, easy, fairly painless treatment to address fine lines, especially some of those crepier fine lines that we can't address with Botox. This is also going to help refine her pores and help with skin tightening and collagen production. All right, I'll get your skin cleaned off and then we'll start getting you numb.
Okay, I'm just leaving my microneedling appointment and they put this amazing cooling mask on that's supposed to help with redness. And I'm honestly this is a little bit of a jump scare, but it's not as bad as I thought. Christina is amazing. She is a magician. I was so scared. She talked me through everything. She explained everything so well. And now we drive home and the numbing should go away in a couple hours. Day 1, day 2, and day 3. Tightness, little red, not bad.
For many new college graduates, the next step after graduation may be heading back home. A new study found nearly half of recent college graduates are still living with their parents. It comes as young adults face growing concerns about jobs and housing. And among Gen Z, more than half say they are more likely to move back home in the next 5 years than buy a home of their own.
Brady Russell leaving Saturday's game against the Cowboys at halftime, and the Seahawks had a police car waiting for him for good reason.
Yeah, his wife was in labor. She delivered the couple's first baby, a baby girl, Hadley, 9 pounds, 4 ounces. Brady called her a little tank. Today, he was back at practice and talked about the big day.
It's great. It's fun. She's super cute, so I never thought a newborn was cute until I saw my own.
What was Saturday like?
Saturday was cool. It was eventful. The night before, we kind of thought she was in labor, having contractions and stuff. So it was don't know if I'm going to be at the game, don't know if I'm going to have to be home. And then contractions held off and stuff. So I was like, all right. And she was like, go play, go have fun. And so went, and then at halftime checked, and she was back having contractions again and stuff. So I was like, I better hit the road. So.
Were you on alert the whole time? Was there a plan somebody was going to tell you if it was going down?
Yeah, so I gave her our security guy's number, George, and they had a car and stuff ready in case I needed to get out of there quick. But it wasn't super urgent. I had time to go home and get her, and yeah. I love the guys that work security at the garage there, so they were all pumped up for me, giving me fist bumps as I left the stadium and directing me out, getting me through quick.
I love everything about this. I really do. His wife basically saying, go play, honey. I'll be okay, but I'll text you if I need you. He plays halftime like she needs me, gets dressed and goes, and they have a baby. Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, that was a great story for sure.
I mean, I loved it, but it wasn't always smooth. It wasn't always easy. Like, it was a bumpy road to start. And I talked to a lot of young quarterbacks these days, college and NFL guys, and I'm like, you know, trust me, there are hard times for every quarterback. You just got to find it. You like, that's the story. It's kind of like an Instagram versus reality. You see all the Instagram posts that everybody posts, but you never see the stuff that got you to that point, or you never see the real stuff. And I got emotional when I went into the Ring of Honor in Seattle, I think because it was so unlikely based on how it started for me. We were playing in Husky Stadium. I got hurt. I lost my job to Trent Dilfer. I didn't play well. And then, fortunately for me, I was ready the second time around. And then, we kind of never looked back.
Uber Eats has agreed to pay a nearly $4.4 million settlement with the city of Seattle. The city had accused the company of violating the app-based worker minimum pay ordinance. Uber Eats will pay $4.3 million in back pay, interest, liquidated damages, and civil penalties to more than 14,000 workers affected. This marks the Office of Labor Standards' second largest settlement with Uber Eats. Last year, the company paid out a $15 million settlement.
I never want to go home. I miss my kids. What? No, I don't miss my kids.
In Spa Weekend, 4 best friends escape their busy lives for sunshine, spa treatments, and this guy.
Come on, Magic Mike. This is Jane.
Nice to meet you, Jane.
I just want to get this out of the way. I am still upset that I did not get the role of hunky Australian yoga instructor.
Me too. Well, where did your tape must have gotten lost?
Yeah. They went with the real Australian.
You weren't available, they told me, so I was just swooped in, cheaper rate.
It's not going to work on you, Crocodile Dundee. Whew. Whoa.
I think what men really want to learn is whether this tantric hand massage stuff really works. Are there really pressure points that can make a woman react like that?
My little secret, mate. We'll see.
Oh, come on.
They can get out there and test it out for themselves.
Don't talk. Let's go to the left.
It's all pretty convincing. And that's probably why he got the role.
And not you.
And I did
Sorry.
not.
Not all back around.
That's nice. There's always another movie. We love you. You would have been a wonderful hunk.
Don't lie to him.
Why? He's
Bye.
tall.